Hey there, Libra. Welcome to your reading for the week of September 8th. You have this card that says confidence is the key to your success. You also have this card that says you are good enough. I don't know, I've said this about 10 times this week. I think it is a week where people should be telling themselves that they are good enough. Like, it just seems to be, and sure, we'll take both of these. But it seems to be a week where we really need to gas ourselves up, where we need to be more positive and all that other stuff. A bunch of people have had the tower again this week. So, again, it's not really something I would be totally worried about just yet. We'll see. We'll see if you need to worry or not here, Libra. But, again, when everybody gets it, usually it's like something is happening in the world or, something crazy is going on. So, like I said, I wouldn't be too worried about it just yet. But I do think you need to tell yourself you are good enough. Also, and this is probably why. It's like the more confident we can be, the better. We're entering into a pretty fiery time when you think about it. And sure, the cards are just flying in your reading here. We'll take all three. Why not? But, we're entering into a pretty fiery time. Next year especially, we are going to have Neptune and Saturn both entering back into Aries. They're currently retrograding into Pisces. Well, Saturn is. Neptune's not there yet, but it will be soon enough. And then next year, both move back into Aries. And also, Jupiter will be entering into Leo next year. For a very short period of time, it is going to retrograde back into Cancer. But, still, very kind of like fiery time where I think we need to be confident, bold, assertive. We need to, really, squeaky wheel gets the grease, as they say, right? So we need to make sure that we're putting in the work and making things happen. In your current general energies, you have the Hierophant, the King of Swords, the Tower, and the Knight of Cups. Really, I wouldn't worry too much about the Tower. The thing about the Tower, though, is that this could be an uncomfortable reality situation going on here. The Hierophant is traditional belief. He has certain belief systems that he is teaching these two people in front of him. These two people are being initiated, actually, into his belief system. But the Tower can say, you're wrong. Or the Tower can say, hey, you could be discovering that something that you've believed for a very long time isn't true, right? And so, I think, by the way, I think there is going to be a lot of this going on during Uranus and Gemini. I don't trust anything right now, at all, period. It's like Uranus and Gemini, it's like most people think, and this is how our brains work. We think that there are two sides to everything. But with Uranus and Gemini, it's like there's a billion sides to everything, and there's like a billion perspectives, and it's like there are all sorts of weird angles, to anything that's going on. And so I wouldn't really call it confusing, but I would say that it is like a little overwhelming and like a little bit of a sensory overload, right? Maybe that's the word that I should be using. With Uranus and Gemini. Uranus will be retrograding into Taurus in November. Now, again, I know this sounds bad, but it isn't. Uranus loves Gemini. Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury, and Mercury is the ruler of Gemini. So, again, I think it sounds bad, but it isn't. I think it'll be good. I think it'll help people, especially you, Libra, find out what you actually believe in life and the world. And, when you know what you believe, you can aim at things and you can decide how to be successful in life, or it can help you better decide what you want to work on and things like that. So I feel ultimately it is good, but at the same time, don't be surprised if there's some sort of shock this week. One thing I will say is it wouldn't surprise me if there's some sort of shock with a world leader this week or something, or something coming out like a truth. We're going to see a lot of that over the next several years, of course. As I always talk about, I haven't been wrong yet. Every single time the Tower comes up, I have predicted, and any time that I've said that it's a world leader, something's happened. Last time the Queen died when I predicted this, so I'm sure, there could be some sort of shock or something going on this week with a world leader with these two cards. Wouldn't surprise me. But again, this could also be in your personal life as well. Tower with the King of Swords. King of Swords can be a mentor. So it could be a person you look up to, and, there could be a surprise or something you find out about them. Could be good, could be bad. I think really the Tower gets a bad rap in the tarot. People always think of it as bad, but sometimes it's good. Sometimes it is a good surprise that you learn about a person. Sometimes it's a bad surprise, right? It kind of goes both ways. So, definitely something to think about, Libra. You have the Knight of Cups. Knight of Cups can definitely be a knight in shining armor. That could also be the shock, there could just be a shock coming in for you here where you find out that maybe someone is in love with you, right? You have that King of Swords, the Tower, the Hierophant. like I said, the tower doesn't have to be a bad thing. It can definitely be a good thing. It could be a shocking surprise that someone is interested in you. It could be some other type of shock as well, like a little bit of information. I mean, you've probably heard me say it. Again, Uranus and Gemini is shocking information. It is electricity. And so, I don't know. I think it's just kind of talking about the time that we're in, the things that we're going to be dealing with, all that other stuff, right? With the Hierophant, here you go. You have the star. Wouldn't even worry about the tower. Whenever we have a reading with the tower and then we get the star after, kind of represents healing from a tower moment. So maybe you've already had a tower moment, or this shock has already happened in your life and you could be healing from it. Might not even be something you need to heal from. Like I said, I think you're all different. The star can be saying that you wished for something to happen and it did. And so that could be a good thing. Here you go. With the King of Swords and the Tower, you have the Hierophant. Basically, the universe saying I meant what I said, right? I feel that for some of you, really, I feel if I were to narrow it down to one thing for you, Libra, that definitely could happen this week, I feel that some of you have maybe believed something for a very long period of time about anything, and you could be getting some new information that what you believed is not true about whatever it is. This is very Neptune and Pisces. Again, Neptune's on its way back into Pisces. It's already been there. So the fact that it's left and now it's retrograding back means that this could happen at any time, right? Where you could be thinking to yourself that, basically you're kind of like, it's the universe trying to get us to see the truth of a matter. And so, don't be surprised if there's like some sort of truth being exposed or, some sort of reality that you're accepting at this time. With the Knight of Cups, you have the Knight of Wands. Yeah, it could be a fire sign. You always get fire with me, Libra. It doesn't have to be. It could just be a fiery person. You also have earth and water here as well, and air, actually, so you have all of them. So, it could be any sign that's coming in for you if you're looking for love. I do feel that this card is encouraging spontaneous energy. It seems to me like this is a very spontaneous week, very random. I would be prepared for things coming out of left field, but again, this could be a good thing. Like there could be random opportunities that you're going to have to say yes to very quickly, like stuff like that. And yeah, I would just be prepared for that, prepared for random opportunities, prepared to say yes, prepared to start things without having to without needing things to be perfect is what I'm trying to say here. I think if you could be in that, it's a little bit of a messy energy maybe that I'm getting here, but not like messy in a bad way. Messy in the sense that, things might not be perfect, right? And I feel that. That's why I'm saying this on this card. The Knight of Wands he's willing to iterate. He's willing to go on an adventure and build. I always say he's the true builder in the tarot because he's willing to start something and he's willing to say, like, I can start this, like, this project or this relationship or this business in this way and I can change it over time. That's fine, right? And I think that's what you need to realize. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this Crescent Moon card. It says, as the moon grows, so can your wealth, health, and happiness. Stay positive. Yes. You have this Explosive Situations. It says, the destruction will allow new growth to emerge and shape a new future. Tower and the Ace of Wands. We'll actually talk about this in a minute. But if you have experienced falling out or destruction or anything like that recently, Libra, I feel that this is going to help you, build a new future or shape things in a different direction, which is probably a good thing, actually. You start here with the High Priestess, Ten of Wands, the Ace of Wands, and the Magician. You have the Hierophant and the High Priestess, by the way. These two are divine counterparts, and I actually look at them as better divine counterparts than the Emperor and the Empress because they're two people, it's a more spiritual connection. So for those of you looking for love, definitely could be a spiritual connection. 2025, I said at the beginning of the year in the yearly readings, is a year of simplification. And that is the Ten of Wands. I personally like the Ten of Wands because he is very close to reaching his home in the background of the card here, right? So to me, the Ten of Wands is a good card, but it is, sometimes I feel there might be certain responsibilities or things that don't belong to him that he needs to cut out of his life. So, make sure that you're not carrying too many burdens from other people. And I feel as long as you do that, things will go well. I also feel you need to trust your intuition. One thing that's popping into my head with her is that she has these 3 stages of the moon. You have this card. It says, as the moon grows, so can your wealth, health, and happiness, right? But she has these 3 stages of the moon. And this represents the fact that she sees the beginning, middle, and end of anything that she enters into before she does it. And she is not necessarily doing that intuitively. She might be doing it more like visualizing how she wants things to go in her life. And I feel it would be an amazing time for you to visualize right now, Libra, like how you want things to go. Practice it. You have the Ace of Wands. A ton of people have been getting multiple aces. You have two. You have the Ace of Wands and the Ace of Cups. So this happens a lot, actually, during eclipses. And we have two eclipses this month, one on the 7th in Pisces, one on the 21st in Virgo. And so, I don't know. It's just like a good time to let go of the old and start something new. The Ace of Wands, this castle, is crumbling in the background. It is literally out with the old, in with the new, right? So this week might be a good week for you to release anything or let go of anything that you've been thinking of letting go of, and starting anything new that you want in your life. New projects, new businesses, new relationships, whatever. Again, you have the spark, this lightning bolt at the top of the tower right here. The Ace of Wands is a spark of inspiration. I always say this is my favorite card, because sometimes I think the Ace of Wands is just that one thing we need. It's like that spark of hope, that spark of inspiration we need to get motivated to do something. But the problem with the Ace of Wands is it's just a spark, right? You have to be the one to get that fire to grow. And you have to make sure that if you are getting excited by something this week, that you keep it growing. You have the Magician. A lot of Magician energy this week as well, I've noticed, which is kind of weird. But again, could be a good week for manifesting. I feel really it's a good time to look at the tools that you're using because of Uranus and Gemini. Uranus and Gemini, again, is offering us these new perspectives. So, but, again, this could be amazing. It's like we could discover, better ways of doing things. The superpower of Gemini is that Gemini can sometimes mix two ideas together. One of my favorite concepts comes from James Altucher. He talks about idea sex. Like the most brilliant ideas in the world are usually two ideas that are just mixed together. That is Uranus and Gemini, right? Where we could see a new perspective or a different approach in business and work and love. We could discover something where we can mix two things together or just do things differently. And that's where the success is going to come from. And so, don't be afraid of experimenting with things. Don't be afraid of being like a mad scientist with life this week. What was this card? Oh yeah, the 10 of Wands and the High Priestess. You have the 6 of Wands, which is good. 6 of Wands is a card of a victory or success or standing out or getting attention. So a lot of you really could be getting the success. I kind of feel like saying you're getting something you deserve here, Libra. Especially if you've been putting a lot of work into like projects or businesses. It's like you're finally getting the recognition you deserve or the attention you deserve. I feel this has been a long time coming, and I've definitely said this to you before. But, again, just looking at Libra's astrology, I feel like you've been dealing with not getting attention or the recognition you deserve since 2016. So it hasn't necessarily been easy for Libra, and I feel that's about to change, which is good. With the Ace of Wands, you have the 4 of Cups. Yeah, I feel that everybody could be feeling like disappointed at this time. Not like disappointed, that's not what I'm really trying to say here. I just feel that we could all be getting new opportunities, and we could be a little bit too focused on the past disappointments. So I feel we all need to realize that we're not going to necessarily always be disappointed in things, and things can get better, things can improve in our lives, and we just need to believe that. I also feel we need to approach new situations as completely new. He needs to realize that this cup is completely different than these 3 cups right here, even though it looks the same. Each opportunity is an opportunity to learn, and that's what he needs to learn, is that he needs to apply what he learned from these 3 cups to this 1 cup. So if you're getting an opportunity this week based off of something that disappointed you in the past, which I think you are, this basically says accept it, but also apply what you learned. With the Magician, you have the 9 of Pentacles. Yeah, 9 of Pentacles is heaven on earth. 9 of Pentacles doesn't say you are going to have heaven on earth. It wants you to create heaven on earth, right? It wants you to do the things necessary to make that happen. And are you going to be able to do that overnight? Hell no. But, what can you do to bring a little bit of heaven down to earth? I mean, you are a Libra. You are peace and harmony, right? And so it's like, it is your job to bring more peace and harmony down to earth. What is the problem here, Libra? I think the problem for Libra, and again, this is not a criticism or anything like that, Libra, but I think the problem for Libra is that you see obviously the lack of balance. You see all the injustices in the world, right? And when that's all you're focused on, then you can't be creating heaven on earth, right? So I believe part of what Libras are here to do is to learn that it's not that you're ignoring the injustices, it's that you are doing more to bring more heaven here on earth, right? And so there you go. That is your job. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have this Law of Attraction card. You have this Watch for Signs card. Yes, you have a lot of Law of Attraction stuff here. So if you're trying to manifest or do anything really, really positive, it seems to be a week of signs. Like, a lot of people have had these cards of like getting signs, symbols, synchronicities. So, I would be paying attention to any signs and symbols as well. You have the 10 of Cups, the 5 of Cups, and the 7 of Wands. 10 of Cups is like fortune after difficulty, happy home, happy family. So there could be a lot of joy coming in for you, right? Like I just said, and I think I say this to you a lot because you get this card with me a lot. These people are, the problem with the card itself is that they're standing in the real world. So they are choosing to focus on what makes them happy. And that's exactly what I would be doing if I were you, Libra. I also, of course, do feel love here. So, if you want love, you literally could be attracting a person you will have a family with. You have the 5 of Cups. 5 of Cups can represent regrets and sadness. I feel like you need to release those regrets, but at the same time, I feel that there's something new coming in for you just in general. That is a very general message, by the way. Like, he just needs to let go of past disappointments and realize that there's a perfect match for him behind him, right? And this could be in work and business. I feel very general about it for you, Libra, like, just in general. You have the Tower, the Ace of Wands. It's clear to me that you're letting something go in your life and you're starting something new. Very common energy during eclipses. We have 2 eclipses this month, one on the 7th, one on the 21st, like I already said. And yes, even though this video is for the week of the 8th, doesn't matter. Even if you're watching this after the 7th, we can feel eclipse energy for a long time after the eclipse. So it's like an eclipse doesn't just last a day. We can feel it very early. We can also feel it after. And we can still work with it after as well. You have the 7 of Wands. 7 of Wands is a card of conviction. It says the more you believe in something, the better. It says, excuse me. The 7 of Wands says, when you know that something is for you, then it's truly for you. But we have to believe something very deeply with the 7 of Wands to get it to work. And, I would make sure that you are, working on your beliefs here and all that other good stuff with the 7 of Wands. With the 10 of Cups, you have the Chariot. Definitely could be some sort of victory here. Now, the Chariot encourages us to set ourselves apart. And, that's everything going on here. The Hierophant to the Tower. It's like, there's some sort of challenge to a belief that you have, Libra. And so don't be surprised if you decide to set yourself apart from something this week, like letting go of a belief system, or, maybe you stop believing what a group of people in your life believes and you start moving in a new direction. That's what the Chariot's all about. That's where the victories in life come from with the Chariot is, he's leaving the city behind him behind. He is, choosing a new direction. And I feel a lot of you could be choosing a new direction, Libra. With the 5 of Cups, you have the Knight of Pentacles. Knight of Pentacles is about planting seeds in a direction. He needs to plant seeds in this field, and he will make progress. I do feel like a lot of you could be making a lot of progress here at this time. So, you could be progressing towards a goal, wish, dream, something you're creating. And I feel that would be a very good thing for you. I do feel good about this. Normally, I don't really like the Knight of Pentacles because he's the only knight in the tarot that isn't moving, but I feel like you are. With the 7 of Wands, you have the Queen of Wands. Yes, definitely divine counterparts here. So for those of you that want love, this looks very, very good. The King and Queen of Wands definitely have a lot of desire for each other. So yeah, it doesn't even matter what sign you're attracting. I think what matters is that you're attracting something where there will be desire. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have this Change in the Wind card and this To Be Fair card, which is kind of like your card here, Libra. That change, the To Be Fair card. So there could, like I said, more balance is what you're focusing on, changes. You also have this Between Worlds card wanted to pop out. I love this card. It's like a card of going from black and white to color. It's like you're stepping into a more vibrant life, or you're stepping into a time where there can be more of a like vibrant energy for you, and obviously that would be a good thing. You have the Ace of Cups, the King of Wands, and the King of Pentacles. Definitely very positive for love. The King of Wands and King of Pentacles also, I think that's one person. It could be like a King of Wands who's also like a King of Pentacles. I like the King of Pentacles for love because it's usually a person, doesn't matter what gender you're into either, it's usually a person who really wants to put in the work. So, again, you could be attracting a person who actually like wants it, who wants a relationship. I'm sure that you all know that nowadays it's like, do people even want relationships nowadays? I don't know. But I feel like this person actually like legitimately would want to be with you. So, definitely could be a strong connection. I would also encourage you, Libra, to bring more balance to like peace and harmony in your life. The Ace of Cups is about doing more things that cause you to overflow. This cup can reach down into the water below it and fill itself back up. So I think this week would be a good time for that. You have the King of Wands. King of Wands about being bold, being assertive, really making things happen. And, this could be a person, we'll talk about it, but I feel that this is also encouraging you to be more bold, assertive, confident, more sure of yourself, more kind of like focused in direction. That's what I would focus on here with the King of Wands. I feel that will lead to the most success. You have the King of Pentacles. Again, I feel you could be attracting a person who's very serious about you. So, for those of you that want love, definitely could be a more serious connection that's coming in for you. I also feel there's like something about focusing on abundance here. The King of Pentacles is very abundant. Now, normally what I would say is that the problem with the King of Pentacles is he's the card of convention. So he just does things the same way over and over and over again, and nothing ever changes. And so he doesn't grow. So the way to work with King of Pentacles energy is to do what works. Don't stop doing what works, but like 20% of the time, you should be experimenting and trying new things to get something to grow. It's like the lifespan of the average YouTube channel is 7 years, right? I've had my channel for over 10 at this point. Why? Because I experiment a lot. You all see it in front of your face, right? And so, I live this energy. I love experimenting. It's changed my life. And it's free, it doesn't cost money, and it's very easy to do, right? So it's about like staying on top of the energy and the changes and, all that other stuff. That's where your abundance will come from. So don't be afraid to experiment, change, try new things in work, in business especially. But also, all other areas of your life is fine as well. Yes, with the Ace of Cups, you have the Knight of Cups. A lot of love this week. It is a good time for love, I would say. So I don't know. It doesn't really surprise me that basically everyone has been getting these cards of love, but definitely could be a very solid connection. With the King of Wands, you have the Page of Pentacles. Page of Pentacles, like good news. There could be good news coming in for you. I do kind of feel that with the Page of Pentacles here. Like there could be good news. Where am I going with this? I don't know. I feel like someone could be communicating with you here, as well. So like if you're looking for love, that could be the good news. What I was trying to decide is, are those two different things? But I don't think so. Like intuitively, I don't feel that. I feel it's like a person that's probably interested communicating if you want love. With the King of Pentacles, you have the Queen of Swords. A lot of clarity this week, which again, this week has been one of those weeks that has kind of surprised me as a reader, just because usually I have a good handle on how things are going to go. Like usually I'm just not surprised. This week I've been a little bit more kind of like surprised by the direction of the readings and like the things that have come up. I just don't expect based off the astrology, but everybody's had something about clarity. You have this ladder card that says climbing towards success. Love it. Definitely could be making a lot of progress towards success. You have this elephant. It says a journey, either physical or mental, will leave you wiser at the end. Yeah, I mean, we're in an amazing time adventure. I beg people to go on adventures right now. You have the Knight of Wands, which is a great adventurous card. And, this can be an adventure from the comfort of your own home. You could just be learning something new. You could be launching a project that you want to do, or, joining a group, things like that. It doesn't have to require money or going somewhere or anything like that. But, I would pick an adventure and do it. You have this Grapes card that says time to go out and have fun. Yes, I feel everybody needs more fun right now. I talk about this all the time. The energy is too serious. We need to get the energy to go towards the fun direction. You have this ant. It says work, achievement, success. Yes, clearly this whole entire reading is very good for work, success, and again, I think the trick for you would be the King of Pentacles. Like, do what works, but like also 20% of the time experiment, try new things, see what works, see what doesn't, and go from there. That's going to be the best thing for you. You have this crown. It says honor and respect will come to you. I don't know. There's a lot of crown imagery in this reading. A lot of kings, queens. You have the crown falling off the top of the tower. Like, you could be, that's the other thing about the towers. Like, sometimes I think the tower can represent us getting a leadership position. It could represent like a leader stepping down, like our boss, and maybe we take that position. So I don't think that's going to happen for all of you, but if it does happen for you, I would definitely take advantage of it. But this is a really good reading here, Libra. I have nothing else to say. So thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy your week.